We'll be fine. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Museum of Glass. Today we have a guest artist, Fritz Dreisbach, this young man right here. Let's have a little hand for him. Fritz is one of the pioneers of modern American studio glass. He was there at the beginning. He started working glass in 1964. He's taught at the world-famous Pilchuck Glass School. He's traveled all over the world, and he's been a pivotal artist and educator in the field of modern glass. Today, he'll be working with our Museum of Glass Hot Shop team. So everything we're making will be his design, but the actual execution of the glass blowing will be our guys. So Fritz has made a series of these bowls. Each of these bowls has several different layers of colored glass. So it's kind of like this. So we have a layer of color on the outside, another color underneath that, and underneath that we have clear glass. So he's carved through the layers to make the design. We're going to drop a bubble of a different color inside. So that'll be this bubble right here. And so the color of the inside bubble will show through where the little windows that he's carved in it. If you look up on the big screen, they're showing another one of the designs. So just to get you started, I'm going to give you just a very brief introduction to how glass blowing works. Everything that we do starts out in our glass furnaces. Where you see the square holes in the steel wall and the doors closed, those are the furnaces. Each one of those has a big ceramic tank. In that ceramic tank, there's 1,000 pounds of molten glass. We keep the molten glass at 2,100 degrees, and at that temperature, the glass is like honey. So if you can imagine a giant crock pot full of honey, that's what our glass furnace is like. When we want to get it out to make stuff, we take one of those steel pipes and we dip it into the molten glass like you dip one of these into a jar of honey. We dip it in, twirl it around. A little bit of the molten glass sticks to the end of the pipe. The pipe itself is hollow, so when you blow, the ball of glass blows up like a little balloon. If you want to make something larger, you dip it in, blow a little bubble, let it harden, and then you dip it in a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time. You just keep building up the glass in layers. All the glass that's in our furnaces is clear, it has no color. We buy colored glass separately in the form of these bars. We buy it like an artist buys paint, red, yellow, pink, blue. We blow a bubble of clear glass, we heat up a chunk of colored glass, and then we melt a layer of the colored glass over the clear glass. We'll then dip that in more clear glass. So what you end up with is something that looks colored, but if you cut through it, you'd see it's just that one skinny layer of color. So from the outside, it's going to look like it's colored through and through, but really, it's just that one skinny layer. So if that's what they're doing over there, On the left. Oh wait, maybe not. Does anybody have any questions so far? So we have a little introductory video where Mr. Dreisbach talks a little bit about his work. Could we play the Fritz interview?
Oh, I was studying painting. My painting prof said, well, okay, your schedule looks good here. You've got some 3D classes, but you're 2 credits short. And if you don't have a full load, they won't give you an assistantship. I said, well, that won't do. What should I take? And he ran his finger down the list, and he came to one that said 2 credits, and he said, here, take that. And I said, what is it? And he said, it doesn't matter. It's 2 credits. And it was the second glass-blowing class in America. Experimental class. This is a series of glasses that I've been doing for the last 5 years that we call cameo cut glass. So we came here a year and 3 months ago and blew cups, or blanks I call them, that have colors on the outside and clear on the inside. And then I took them to the engraving machine. I carved through each color down to the color that's below it and make a pattern. These are not finished at this stage. Then I bring them here. We're going to put glass inside the bubble and pick it up and reheat it and blow it out. But this color that's on the outside of this bubble will also be on the outside of the final piece. You can make any shape you want after you've got it all attached. And here are some, this is a cup and a finished piece.
a slight tap, the piece is broken free and on its way to the annealer, where it will cool down for the next several hours.
If I could have my biggest dream come true, it would be that people see me as an artist as well as an educator, so that I can have my cake and eat it too. It's good, huh?
So this next vase we're going to make is going to have a foot, a little pad at the base that it stands on, and that's what Ben in the center is making. So we're going to make the little foot first, put it in the oven, keep it warm, then we'll pick up the patterned body, blow that up, and so on and so forth. So we want this foot to be solid. We don't have any solid colored glass. So what we've done is we've blown a small bowl of colored glass, and we're going to fill it with clear glass. And so there'll be a layer of color on the outside, so when you look at the thing, it'll look like it's solid colored glass. So the glass that Courtney has, the man with the long beard, that's going to go inside the little glowing orange bowl. If you look up on the big screen, we have a little diagram. So this is called stuffing a color cup. If you look over to your right, you'll see Courtney's dripping off some of the excess glass into that steel can. We'll save that glass, and that'll eventually go back in the furnace. So we'll take the color cup off the pipe, place it in a stand, and now Courtney will stuff it. Does anybody have any questions? Forever. You can reheat it forever. Think of it like wax. When wax gets hot, it gets soft. When it gets cool, it gets hard. And you can just keep doing that forever. How long is it? Well, there's no... What's your mother's answer?
54 years. I'm still learning.
Yes, ma'am. Water. As sometimes there's bubbles on the surface of the glass. You can spray water in there and pop them. Yeah, it is really hot. That oven, we keep that oven at 2100 degrees. Yes, sir. Well, we let the glass cool and stiffen a bit before we immerse it. So the inner core, the part we're coating, is stiff. If we left it in there for a long time, it would melt the glass underneath. But we just in there for a few seconds, come out, everything is fine. It varies how many people on a team. We generally work with 3, but it could be 4 or 5 or 8, depending on how complicated a project we have. But I would say 3 is probably our most common number. So if you watch, over on the left, we're going to color another bubble. Sarah, sitting down, has a bubble of clear glass. Sayuri, standing up, the black pants. She's heating up a chunk of colored glass, and we're going to melt the layer of the colored glass over the clear glass. Can we put up the color overlay drawing? So if you look on the sort of left side of that picture, so we drop a blob of colored glass on top of the clear bubble. We mush it back until it entirely coats the first bubble, and then we dip it in more clear glass. So here it's happening live. We drop on the blob. The orange glowy stuff is the colored glass. Sarah will push that back a little bit, and she'll heat it up and smush it till it entirely coats the original bubble. You guys have any questions? This, this, this is an annealing oven. It's an electric oven. We generally use it for cooling the finished glass down slowly. Today, we're using it to heat up our carved cups. So there's some of those carved pieces sitting in here. We're going to make the bubble that goes inside. That's what these guys are doing. We'll drop it in. It's at probably about 950. Before we pull them out, so they'll be a little extra warm, and then just a short trip over to the. Making a face. Gotta do it now. I gotta do it now. I haven't. I think I like know the answer. I don't. Yep, correct. Cooling tower.
Yeah.
Cool. The ones that have the molten glass in them, they're on 24/7. The round ones that are in and out all the time, those are only on Thursday. You guys have any questions? Okay, how does he make the cuts? Can we put up the glass lathe drawing? So we use a tool called the glass lathe. It's got a motor with a spindle coming out of it, and mounted on the spindle are abrasive wheels. Back in the old days, they used to be stone. Nowadays, a lot of them are brass impregnated with industrial diamonds. The wheels spin really fast. They're cooled with water, and we press the glass against it, and it carves into the glass. It kind of abrades it. We have different wheels that have different shapes, and they make different cuts into the glass. So You can see Sarah, one of our glass blowers, working on a glass lathe. So over on the far left, Sarah is making what's called a color cup. She's blowing a bubble of clear glass. She's making it into a little bowl shape. And we're going to drop another bubble inside. So we'll have a layer of color on the outside. Do the kilns stay on all the time? I'm just repeating it so everyone knows what I'm answering. There's two types of kilns. There's the glass furnaces, which contain the molten glass. They're on 24/7. The round ones, the glory holes, the ones where they're in and out of as they're working, those are only on during the working day. It takes an hour to heat them up in the morning. What does the glass look like when it goes into the furnace? Looks like this. We get 50-pound bags of these. We shovel them into the furnace, turn the heat up, cook them overnight. In the morning, it's ready to use. Can we play Charging the Furnace? We have a little video.
Charging the furnace is what we call filling the furnace up with glass. Glass cullet is washed clean and loaded into tubes for filling. Here at the museum, we don't use recycled bottles. Instead, we melt cullet that has been specifically designed to make blown glass art. The primary ingredient in glass is silica sand, or silicon dioxide. The other two main ingredients are soda, or sodium oxide, which lowers the melting temperature, and lime, or calcium oxide, to stabilize it. Once the cullet is loaded into the 2300-degree furnace, a rake is used to level the glass for even melting. The furnaces at the Museum of Glass hold approximately 1,000 pounds of clear molten glass and run continuously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So we're getting ready to stuff another color cup. Sarah, over on the left, in the black shirt and brown shorts. She's got the color cup. Ben has the bubble that's going inside. It's going to blow just a little bit. So now we have a layer of colored glass on the outside and a thick layer of clear glass on the inside. Yes, sir. Well, they don't really have specific roles. Usually one person is leading the team and they're called the gaffer, but it could be any of these guys. That one is going to be this one, the one that goes inside. So it's basically going to be the background color behind the design. So he's going to drip some of the excess glass off into that steel can. We're going to lay the steel pipe in the pipe cooler, that trough. We'll just spray water on the metal pipe. That'll cool it down, make it easier to hold. And then you can also grab it higher up to get better leverage. So this bubble is going to go inside one of the carved cups. So we're getting ready to pick up our carved cup. If you're not in a place where you can see it directly, look up on the big screen. We'll have a camera on it. So you drop one bubble inside the other, press. Do you guys have any questions? So we're going to make some prints called pyrographs. We're going to roll the hot glass, and the carved texture will burn a pattern into the paper. Yes. Oh, we're going to hang it like a print. It's a picture. Oh, we're going to make a vase out of it. We're going to make a vase out of it. That's just the print's just a side benefit. Yeah. So the carved part is gray, and the interior bubble is what's called alt gold. So alt gold. So opaque. Oh yeah. So the man crouched down to the left, he's the guy that's blowing. He's blowing through the steel tube, the blowpipe, and inflating it slowly as Ben, sitting at the bench, shapes it. Torches allow us to focus the heat in a particular place. When we put it in the big round oven, it kind of heats up the whole object. The torches, we can focus the heat just where we want. Well, it's going to stretch as we blow it out. Distort. It's pretty solid. If we messed with it enough, it would distort. We're trying to keep it straight. So we're squeezing the glass and making a sharp crease in it. The sharp crease will be the place where we can break the glass away from the metal pipe once we're done shaping it. The tool that he's using to squeeze it is called the jacks, and making that crease is called jacking it down. So that's where we're going to break it away from the metal pipe. When we're ready to remove it, we'll take a pair of tweezers, dip them in water, drip a little water into that notch. The water will crack the glass, and then a light tap, and the crack will follow the notch. So the next thing we're going to do is transfer the glass from the rod it's originally blown on to a second steel rod called the punty, P-U-N-T-Y. Oh, wait, maybe not. No, the next thing we're going to do is put on the foot. So Courtney in the black shirt, long beard, is heating up the glass for the foot. And Ben, sitting at the center bench, will apply it and shape it. Yes. Buy colored glass separately, and we melt a layer of colored glass onto our clear. No, we can't. There's 1,000 pounds of glass in there. We turned it off, it would all solidify, and the mornings couldn't work. So now we're going to drop a big blob of glass on for the foot. Courtney's getting his glass really hot, holds it up in the air. No, that was just here. So that glass will become the foot. We're going to make it the shape that Fritz has drawn on the floor to guide the glass blowers. Well, there's probably about an hour and a half of blowing, and then, but he spent, weeks carving it, carving the design into it. This is just the end of the process where we blow it up to the full size. What? So Sarah's holding a paddle against the bottom, and Ben is holding the jacks against the side, making that taper. You get little burns like you might if you work in a restaurant kitchen. Little annoying things, but not medical things. It's hot down there. Yeah, there are electric ovens, but we don't have them. When we heat the glass up with a torch, like Ben is doing now, it allows us to focus the heat in a particular place. We can make just the part we want to shape extra hot and extra soft, and without disturbing the rest of the object. No, one for kid. Nice one. That's quite a haircut he's got. Oh, he's got a lot of bananas. I love them. One for kid. So now we're going to transfer it, the glass from the rod it was originally blown on to a second steel rod called the punty. The second steel rod is going to hold it from the bottom while we shape the top. When we're ready to remove it from the original rod, we'll take those tweezers, dip them in water, drip a little water where we want the glass to break, and then a little tap and off it comes. Well, we have one intern, that young lady there. Everyone else is a professional. The ones that have the molten glass in them, they're going all the time. Round ones that they're in and out of as they're working. The glass where we break it off the metal pipe is always a little thick. So we're going to stretch it out a little bit and trim some of it off. When glass is hot, you can cut it with a scissors. Not a big dramatic thing like in the movie. I'll point it out to you next time they do it. You watched them blow a whole bunch. You just didn't notice. Yep. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. We just fish it out. So as Ben shapes the glass, Ben is the man sitting at the bench. His assistant holds a wooden paddle in front of his arm to shield him from the heat. The heat that comes off the glass is radiant heat, like an outdoor heater. It heats the first thing it strikes. So if you put the paddle between the arm and glass, the paddle gets hot, the arm doesn't. are just about done with this. If you look to your right, you'll see one of the glass blowers putting on some protective clothing. She's going to carry the finished vase to our annealing oven. Everything that we make here has to be cooled slowly or it'll break. If we just put this, made this, put it on a table, walked away, it would cool too quickly and unevenly and it would shatter. Each day we heat up our annealing oven to 920 degrees. We place all the objects we make during the day in there, and then at night we cool everything down all at once. When we remove the glass from the metal rod, it'll be about 1,000 degrees. We'll drip a little water on the joint between the glass and the metal rod. That'll crack that joint, a little tap, off it comes, and into our annealing oven to cool. Could we play the Fritz interview?
Oh, I was studying painting. My painting prof said, well, okay, your schedule looks good here. You've got some 3D classes, but you're 2 credits short. And if you don't have a full load, they won't give you an assistantship. I said, well, that won't do. What should I take? And he ran his finger down the list, and he came to one that said 2 credits, and he said, here, take that. And I said, what is it? And he said, doesn't matter. It's 2 credits. And it was the second glass blowing class in America. Experimental class. This is a series of glasses that I've been doing for the last 5 years that we call cameo cut glass. So we came here a year and 3 months ago and blew cups, or blanks I call them, that have colors on the outside and clear on the inside. And then I took them to the engraving machine. I carved through each color down to the color that's below it and make a pattern. These are not finished at this stage. Then I bring them here. We're going to put glass inside the bubble and pick it up and reheat it and blow it out. But this color that's on the outside of this bubble will also be on the outside of the final piece. You can make any shape you want after you've got it all attached. And here are some, this is a cup and a finished piece.
A slight tap, the piece is broken free and on its way to the annealer, where it will cool down for the next several hours.
If I could have my biggest dream come true, it would be that people see me as an artist as well as an educator, so that I can have my cake and eat it too. It's good, huh?
So our guest artist today is Fritz Dreisbach, this young man right here. And he's working with our Museum of Glass Hot Shop team. And they're making his designs. A year ago, he came here and we made him a bunch of what looked like little glass bowls layered with multiple colors. He took them back to his studio, carved designs in them. Now we're going to pick them up and blow them up into vases. So we have a bunch of cut ones in these ovens, this oven actually. So we warm them up slowly. We're going to drop another bubble inside with a different color, so it'll be sort of a background color. So each of these has a layer of clear glass and two colors on top of it. We'll carve back through the colored layers, and that'll create like a little window, and you'll see whatever the background color is through that window. So we've blown a little bubble here. We're going to transfer it to a second steel rod. We'll break it off the original rod, and then we'll open the other end up. We'll end up with what we call a color cup. So it would be a little bowl-shaped thing of colored glass. And for this one, we're going to fill it with clear glass, and we'll use that to make the foot of the vase. Sarah is making another color cup over there, and we're going to use that to make the body of the vase. Do you guys have any questions? Well, the foot and there's going to be a little foot on that. Yeah. So, in that sense, we're fusing them together. Yep. You guys have any questions? I can't hear you. The glass is behind that door. Can we put up the furnace diagram for a moment? So behind that door is a big ceramic tank with 1,000 pounds of molten glass in it. Just dip it in there. The glass is like honey. It's like dipping into a big jar of honey. Yes, sir. I've tried. I don't know what I can do about that. Okay. Well, you should know that our guest artist is Fritz Dreisbach, and he's made a little multi-layered bowl, and he's cut a cameo design into it, and we're going to make it into a vase. So we're getting ready to stuff our color cup. Ben, tall guy in the gray shirt, has the color cup. Courtney, over on the right, has the clear glass that we're going to fill it with. Place the color cup on a little stand, and Courtney's going to come over with his glass and fill up the cup. Eventually, we'll shape that into the foot of the vase. Sarah's popping some bubbles. If there's some bubbles on the outside, we can actually just pop them, heat it up, and smooth the thing out. You guys have any questions? You good? So today we have a guest artist, Fritz Dreisbach, one of the pioneers of the studio glass movement. We do a variety of things here at the museum. One of our favorite things is called our Kids Design Glass. We have a contest for kids. Any kid can do a drawing once a month. We pick one of the drawings and make it out of glass. We make 2 copies, one for the kid to keep and one for the museum collection. So if you're here with kids, it's free to enter. And we have a little video. I'm going to show you some of the cool things we've done with the kids in the past.
It's a baby monster. Pip is a baby monster that loves to smile and laugh. Even though he's little and cute, he gives a big cry. Also, Pip loves food, especially bananas. He will eat any speck of food in sight.
especially if the pieces of art go traveling around, other kids will see, oh my gosh, I could do that too. You know, it's not just somebody else that, you know, they did it, you know, I couldn't do that. Absolutely not. Anyone can do this. And I think that's what it shows the kids.
Maybe not everybody can win,
but
I think it's gonna stand up there with one of the coolest things that a museum has ever done.
What is it, a cucumber all dressed up for a night on the town? That's pretty ridiculously funny.
The funnest part about this project is how fresh the ideas are coming from the kids who, they have no idea of glass blowing techniques, they don't care.
Nobody saw this coming. We'd make one piece and it was given to the family. And then we realized, well, wait a second, there's something more here. We started to get more drawings, more interesting drawings, and it really kind of snowballed a little bit.
Bacon Boy was special. The hat almost looks like a frying pan.
Maybe he's wearing a frying pan.
bacon, baby.
It's fine.
Oh, I see.
How's that for his arm? Fingers?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it really brings it home and really shows that, you know, there's an artist in all of us, I think. So, and it's human nature to be creative. So I think we lose that as we get older sometimes, and it's cool to see this pure creative nature that children possess. So I think it's cool to share that with the rest of the world, hopefully. So.
Thank you for supporting Kids Design Glass.
So if you're here with kids, just go into our little arts and crafts room. There's paper and markers and crayons, everything you need, and it's free. So we're going to be making this out of 2 bubbles. 1 bubble will be carved with the design in it. That one is sitting in our annealing oven, staying warm. We're making a 2nd bubble that will go inside of it. And that's the one he's making right now. So this bubble will provide a background color, and wherever we've carved through the outer layers of color, the background color will show through. So if you look at some of these here, we have this sort of amber background color, and wherever we've carved a little circle, the background color shows through. Does anybody have any questions? Nope. You guys have any questions? Yes, sir. I have no idea. This is not really a production studio, where it's not a business in a formal sense. It's more about education and showing you guys. So some things we make take 15 minutes. Some things we make may take 5.5 hours. Depends on what we're making. If we're making big things, we refill it often. If we're making little things, we last for a long time. Use a glass lathe. Can we put up the glass lathe slide? So if you look up on the big screen, that machine is called a glass lathe. It has a motor and a spindle that comes out. Mounted on the spindle is an abrasive wheel. You can see Sarah on the right side of the photograph carving the glass. So the wheel turns really fast, it's abrasive, it's water cooled, and it kind of wears through the glass. We have different wheels that have different profiles. If you look on the left side, on the bottom, so we can make different kinds of cuts. Probably the most familiar thing is when you see like glass in your grandma's cabinet that has all those crisscross triangular cuts. That's made with a glass lathe, and it's made with the wheel that you see in the middle. Today a lot of them are brass with diamond, with industrial diamonds embedded. Traditionally it was stone, and sometimes they'll use copper wheels with an abrasive slurry on the copper wheel. Warm it up, and we pick it up, and we heat up in the furnace, melt the pattern glass, and we blow it up on the So Ben's going to trim off some of the bubble, and that's going to draw the stripes all the way down to the bottom where they'll meet in the middle. So the bubble with stripes is going to go inside one of these cut cups, and you'll see the stripes through the little windows cut in the glass. spoke for about 10 years. But I think master would be a gross exaggeration. So getting ready to stuff it. So there's a carved cup in that oven. If you can't see it from where you're sitting, look up on the big screen. We'll have a camera on it. So Ben's getting his bubble really hot. We're going to drop it into our carved cup. This is called stuffing a color cup. And then we'll have a layer of the carved glass on the outside and a different color scheme on the inside. You can see we have 3 layers of colored glass. We have 2 opaque layers, and then underneath that is clear. So when we carve down to the clear glass, whatever color's inside shows through. So right now you see a bright orange from the hot glass showing through the little clear windows. Does that make sense? You guys have any questions? So we're making prints, paper prints. We're taking the carved pattern, rolling it over the paper, and it makes burn marks according to the carved pattern. just want to give everybody the heads up. It's about 4:30. Museum closes at 5. So if there's anything else you want to do, see the exhibits, go to the gift shop, now would be the time to think about it. We'll blow straight through till 5, but if there's anything else you want to do, think about it now. So the original bubbles have a layer of clear glass, then 2 opaque colors on top of that. And we carve through the 2 opaque colors to make the designs and leave the clear layer intact. Carving with a glass lathe. Can we put up the glass lathe slide? So if you look up on the big screen, you'll see both a diagram and a photo. So that's called the glass lathe. It has a motor and a spindle. Mounted on the spindle is an abrasive wheel. We press the glass against the spinning abrasive wheel, and it wears through the glass, makes little cuts in it, like you see in the bottom of the left. And we have different shaped wheels to make different shaped cuts. And so that's what that's what he used to carve this design into the glass. we heat it up with a torch, we can focus the heat just exactly where we want it. When we put it in the big oven, it's hard to do that. So we're just softening one part, and we can shape it without affecting the rest of the object. Fritz, one more thing about the talk. They will be very interested, but they have a fairly short attention span. So about a half an hour. The thing is, yes, because I've seen all of them. So they will be very interested, but they won't last through a long time. So we're making a series of creases or indentations down the length of the vase. We're taking the torch, heating up the place where we want to place the indentation. The torch makes it soft just in that spot, and then we squeeze it with the jacks, those metal tongs. We're making a series of indentations all along the length of the piece. Do you guys have any questions back there? No? You good? Here comes Courtney with the glass for the foot. We're going to drop it on from overhead. Snip it off. And then we'll center it a little bit, then we'll start to shape it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have some sad news for you. It's time to adjust your psyches from the ethereal world of art making to the cold, harsh reality of the streets of Tacoma. The museum is now officially closed. Thank you all for coming.